Hi, it's Courtney V. And the two questions I get asked most often with pelvic floor training are, number one, what am I supposed to be doing? And number two, am I supposed to be tightening down there? So I'm going to go over with you how women's pelvic floor works and how you can apply that into pelvic floor training. A woman's pelvic floor works so differently than a man's. It attaches at the front to our pubic bone, at the back to the tailbone, and then sits bone to sits bone, those little bones you sit on side to side. It's designed to lengthen and rebound in those two directions, so front to back and side to side. It is easiest to picture this if you picture a slingshot. As you pull a slingshot back, you're lengthening it, and as you let it go, it rebounds. The entire time, there's a nice tension throughout, and it also helps as you lengthen, really the elasticity and that rebound come back, and that's how our pelvic floor works. Front to back, side to side, it's designed to lengthen and then rebound. In addition, a woman's pelvic floor is fan-shaped. So it's easiest to picture this and think of delivery of the baby. A woman's pelvic floor, to allow delivery, stretches and lengthens in all directions and then rebounds back. So our pelvic floor is so dynamic and able to lengthen and rebound in multiple directions. In addition, our pelvic floor acts as a sling and holds in our internal organs. And when we breathe in and out, our pelvic floor slightly ascends and descends in our body, almost like a little elevator going up and down a little bit with each breath. So how does this apply to training? When you train your pelvic floor, I do not recommend tightening your pelvic floor. That's going to create excessive tension in the pelvic floor. And you really want your pelvic floor to be able to lengthen and rebound appropriately. So if you think of a professional athlete who's really amazing at their sport, they are so relaxed when they're playing their sport. If they create excessive tension through their body, they do not perform as well as at all. And their muscles are strong, toned, and responsive, yet they're not tightening them. Also, I like to have people think of like a hamstring. If someone has a tight hamstring, that does not mean that it's strong, toned, or responsive. All it means is that it's over tight and too short. Same with your pelvic floor. So when we do things that really tighten that pelvic floor, it's doing nothing to promote the elasticity that a woman's pelvic floor is designed for. So when I do pelvic floor training, I think about relaxing the pelvic floor, and depending on the movement, I think about lengthening the pelvic floor, whether it's front to back, side to side, or in that more circular motion, or even up and down, that rebound effect. And that's what I picture and really focus on when I'm training my pelvic floor, keeping it relaxed and then creating that lengthening and rebounding. A lot of problems in the pelvic floor come from an inappropriate length-tension relationship of the pelvic floor. That means part of the pelvic floor can be overstretched and part of it too tight. All of it can be too tight and all of it can be overstretched. So when you do things that just tighten the pelvic floor, many issues are actually from parts of the pelvic floor or all of it being too tight already. So if you do things that are going to tighten the pelvic floor, it can exacerbate and make those problems worse. By training your pelvic floor to be elastic and focusing on the lengthening and tension, lengthening and rebound, and that length and tension relationship, you're going to ensure that you are not over tightening your pelvic floor and you're restoring proper tone and elasticity in the pelvic floor. So I hope you found this information helpful and valuable. You can apply it to any movement you do and your pelvic floor training most certainly. Please like this video if you found it helpful and share it with any friends as well.